What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon. Hope you guys are doing well. Obviously, we're all glued to our computers or tablets or smartphones, waiting for more information about the Seahawks injury report. We're eager to see what's going on there. The Buccaneers already kind of indicated what they're going to have and not have this weekend, but I'm going to make my video about that a little bit later once we actually get the full injury reports from both teams. And instead, in this video, I want to talk about something pretty cool going on with this Seahawks defense right now, or at least I think it's pretty cool because it kind of gives an indication of the good things that Mike Macdonald is bringing to the table as head coach and guy running the defense for the Seattle Seahawks. So we're going to take a look at another chart here. You guys know I like charts. Before we get to that, though, I do want to tell you guys about some stuff with Sleeper back in 60 seconds. All right, guys, let's take a minute so I can tell you about Sleeper, a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat on sports games in real time with other users. You can get the fastest scores, blazing fast sports news and sports alerts right at your fingertips. And of course, you can use Sleeper to play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. This is the way sports were meant to be enjoyed together. So download Sleeper today. Use promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. And you can pair that with another promo they have right now where you can get a $20 entry free with no deposit required. So get both of those things going. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper today, get to it, and go have some fun with sports this year. All right, welcome back. So we got a tweet here from Doug Analytics. They're another one of these Twitter accounts or X accounts that's doing great work going through football data. And what we have here is, I think, a really cool illustration of which teams are currently the most effective at rushing the passer, and also kind of in tandem with that, which teams have the best plans when rushing the passer. I remember a couple years ago, in the final couple years of Pete Carroll, when obviously the defense was very bad, like 2022, 2023, both those years, one of the worst defenses in football. And one element of that I recall pretty clearly was this sense that there was no plan from the pass rushers, and all the defensive linemen seemed like they were working individually. There were games, there were moments, there were even entire months, it felt like, where you'd watch the defensive line and it would look like a group of guys that just met each other 5 minutes before kickoff, and they're all just kind of doing their own thing, and there's no synchronicity, there's no understanding of this guy's going to do this, so I'm going to do that. We're going to work together in order to generate pressure here. And it was one of the many reasons why that defense was not very good. And also, let's remember here, the Seahawks, through the first 4 games of the season, have been one of the least blitz-happy teams in football. They do not blitz very much at all. I think the number's gone up a little bit over the last couple weeks, but they are still not really blitzing. So that kind of begs the question, if they're not blitzing, what are they doing? Well, the answer is they're stunting. And a defensive line stunt is basically any play where multiple defensive linemen switch their gap during the play. Like, you'll see this a lot with the Rams. The Rams do it a lot. The Niners have also been doing it a lot because their front has been so weakened by injuries that they just kind of need to find different ways to manufacture pressure. But basically, the idea is that you confuse the offensive line because the offensive lineman thinks I'm blocking this guy who's in front of me, and then that guy might loop around to the other side of another lineman, and then the line has to understand, okay, this guy's got to slide to pick this guy up, and now the guy who thought he had guy A is blocking guy B. It's an effective way to generate pressure without sending extra men most of the time, because the idea is the offensive line doesn't get a simple rep. They get a rep where they actually have to understand what's going on mid-play and pick it up. So this is an effective strategy for a lot of teams, but the Seahawks have been using this more effectively than anybody. First of all, they are, I believe, seventh. Yes, according to Doug Analytics, they are seventh in the league in stunt usage. They're stunting on about 21.3% of their pass plays, where they face a pass play, of course. So they're among the league leaders. They're not at the league lead. The league lead is actually the Niners and then the Rams. They're both at about 24, 25%, just shy of 25 actually. And then you've got like the Broncos, they're at about 22 and a half, 23. You got the Raiders up there as well. And the Seahawks, they're seventh, which is still pretty high, right? They're actually last place in their division, though. This division loves stunting defensive linemen. But the really interesting thing is how effective it has been for them to be stunting their defensive linemen in generating pressure. The league average for difference in pressure rate when stunting is approximately 3%. You're 3% more likely to generate pressure on a play where you stunt with your defensive line versus where you don't. The Seahawks, their odds, 26.4% more likely. They're generating pressure at a rate of 26.4% higher when they stunt versus when they don't. And that is by a pretty decent margin the most. The Browns, I believe, are the only other team that is above 20%. So we are all alone up here. And what this tells you, not only are they stunting a lot, they are stunting with a plan in mind. They are stunting well. The players are working well together. They understand what they're supposed to be doing. And it is very, very effective at generating that pressure. So this is a big element of what McDonald is bringing to the table here, because I know, and I don't think this is valid, but I do know some people out there would be wondering, well, if our blitz rate is really low, then what is McDonald doing that Pete wasn't doing when Pete was here at the end? I think this is a big part of it. Not only are they stunting at a high rate, they're stunting very effectively. Now, I know Pete's actually stunting at a higher rate right now in Las Vegas, but you can see that it's been actually very ineffective. They've been one of the worst teams in the league in terms of stunting efficiently and effectively. So, very interesting stuff here. I think this is just another thing that you can kind of point to and say we've got a defense that is fixing to be one of the best in the league, and we've got the right coach, right? Like, I think this is something that you clearly point to and you go, okay, now that he's had an extra year to get his guys in here, now that he's had the full off season to bring in guys that he wants, to draft the guys that he wants, and really build the team that he's longing to build. Look at what he's creating. Look at this havoc, because we know we've dealt with it before. These stunts are not easy to handle. Like last year playing the Rams, I think in that first game we played the Rams, Geno Smith got sacked 7 times, and a lot of it was because LA was stunting and they were doing it very effectively, and we couldn't handle it. So we know that stunting is a hard thing to deal with. So to see the Seahawks be through the first 4 weeks of the season, obviously, by the way, this data doesn't count anything that happened last night because this data is a couple days old. But that's just one game, so I'm not too worried about it. We have been, by a pretty wide margin, the most effective stunting team in football. I think that speaks to the effectiveness of this defensive scheme and strategy, and that's why going forward, I remain very encouraged. All right, so I thought that would be cool to look at for a few minutes. Let me know what you guys think about the data. Let me know what you guys think about the chart. Basically, the big overall takeaway here is just quite simply the Seahawks are doing a lot of creative things up front. They're doing a lot of twists. They're doing a lot of creative shifting of their linemen, and it is creating a ton of extra pressure. And without this, they would probably have to blitz a lot more, and it would leave them a lot more susceptible on the back end. I expect the blitzing rate to pick up as we go through the next few weeks here, especially when we get our players back. But I think that this is still a very notable element of this defense so far. And it's a big reason why, despite the low blitz rate, you can see McDonald is bringing something to the table that we haven't had in a while. All right. More videos coming later. Injury report should be coming out soon, the official one. If we end up getting it a little bit early, you'll probably have already seen that video by now. But either way, see you guys soon. Go Hawks. There will be more videos. I owe you guys the Huskies preview real quick before the Maryland game tomorrow. And yeah, see you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think.